I've got DJD,
Howdy.
and in the studio, we have a studio audience this week, and Craig. What's up, Craig? Nice to see you.
Faithful Craig.
Faithful Craig. So, update to the audience. So apparently Farmer's computer broke down,
I mean, that's
and
what
that
it
happened.
claims.
That happened last week, and he doesn't want to buy a new part. I forget. Is it his power supply? He said
Yeah, I think it's
broke down.
power supply. Yeah.
He doesn't want to buy a new one because it's under warranty. So he has all of this stuff he has to do to send it back and get like the warranty one, right, for free, kind of a deal.
Right.
Here's the issue, right? I've been on Mac for a long time now, right? Like really, I don't know how long it's been, to be honest with you, that I've been on Mac. A long time. Basically the whole time we've known each other, I've been a Mac user, I think.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
So, like, when people talk about power supply, I don't even know what that means because on a Mac, you just plug in. There's a port, and you just plug in. You know, I'm literally not joking. I know that this is a part on a PC, but again, as the joke goes, if something goes wrong with your Mac, just pick it up and throw it away. Yeah, power supply. What are you even talking about? What? Your power supply broke, so you have to go buy a new one? Sounds like you need a whole new computer. That's what that sounds like to me.
I mean,
I have a. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know. Like, when I had a piece go bad, it was right. And so, like, I replaced everything trying to figure out what it was. So I basically got a whole new computer.
You
But my
basically
understanding
ship a
is,
Theseus to
I
your
mean,
computer.
yes,
Sorry,
actually,
go.
yes. To the point where, like, literally the only thing that was the same was the case. So yes, I very much did. But and who knows whether it was the same computer or not. Where I
Yeah,
changed
that's
everything.
the question.
Yeah.
Is it the
Yeah.
same computer or is it not the same computer after you changed out all of the parts?
Yeah. It wasn't. To be clear. But
It's so stupid. I love it.
but anyone who didn't look inside it would have thought of that. And
I
perception
mean,
kind of matters a lot, you know? So I mean, like, you could make the argument that, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, we judge things by like what we perceive them to be. I
I mean,
don't know. We
it
could
sounds
we
it's
could get
happening.
wrapped
It
up in this.
sounds well, it sounds funny, but you know, the whole time I lived in Japan now, 11 years, really my Xbox experience has been seamless. I'm on my fourth Xbox here, and it's been a seamless. No, you know what I mean? I sign in, and
Right.
everything's the way. Even my pins are the same,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, yeah. Is it different or is it the same? Does it? I think the perception is important, right? You know, if we're talking about that, I mean, because you could get into it. Like, you know, I could replace the engine in my car. Is it like at what point, as you keep replacing a car, is it a new car? It's a new engine, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Farmer is still having issues.
I also feel like I've done that because I had another
You have
expense
done
come up
that,
this
yeah.
week. So I mean, like, yeah, it's just like, yeah. But like, geez, like, I probably would not have bought a new computer if I knew that I was going to be spending so much money on my car, like this month. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that I did buy the new computer because, like,
Yeah, because you
you know,
wouldn't have the
once I
funds
do
for it.
something, it's done. You know, like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to undo it.
No, exactly. You're not gonna like return the computer,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Yeah, you had a car trouble. Well, Farmer's having computer trouble, and apparently he's hoping to get it fixed this week. But I'm kind of like, doesn't he use that computer for work, or does he have a just straight up separate computer
My
that he
understanding
uses
was
for
they
work?
used it for work too, but I guess not. Maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe he has like a
Maybe
laptop or something for work as well.
Maybe,
I'm not
but
sure.
the idea
Yeah.
of something breaking and like having to wait that long, like something so important,
I just
right?
don't have the patience. Yeah. I just, like, I would absolutely go out, like, if I couldn't get like a warranty or something, just like within like a week, I would just immediately replace it. I just wouldn't have the patience for it. And granted, he was on vacation, right? So, like, I mean, like, that kind of sort of makes sense in terms of like, oh, well, it happened, like, you know, while he was on vacation or right before he went on vacation or whatever.
Does
So
that make
like, I mean, like,
sense? Is your desktop, do you turn off your electronics when you go out of town?
look, okay. Yes, I do actually, for the
I
record.
do. I
Yeah.
do. No, same.
When I go
My
out of
computer,
town,
I
yeah,
let
I
it run in
absolutely
sleep
do.
mode.
Yeah.
My desktop computer, if I'm going out of town, I'll make sure to turn it off.
I turn off
I
everything
wouldn't
in my house. Like, I mean, like,
I wouldn't but like as far as sleep mode on a computer goes, right? I would turn that off. I wouldn't like go into my Xbox settings and turn off sleep mode. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go
right.
that far. I would just make sure it's off. But as far as like my computer goes, like the desktop in my studio, yeah, I would totally make sure to turn it off before I left.
Yeah.
But some people don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
And I mean, like,
apparently.
I don't necessarily turn off all my electronics like overnight, whatever. But that's also because I don't sleep much. So it's doing, I'll finally fall asleep for like a few hours and wake up and I'll be able to go back to it. Yeah. But I mean, like,
I
I
don't
think
turn
all
them
my
off overnight either.
devices, I think all my devices are on like 2 hour timer right now for sleep mode, which I
Mm,
feel like is pretty fair. Like,
mm,
it could be 15 minutes, but I feel like there's way too often that I get distracted with something where, like, I might like look away for 15 minutes from like one particular screen or whatever and have it turn off. I'm like, no, I don't want that. Wait a second, Yeah.
right. Right. I do not have this problem. I think my phone is set to turn off after 1 minute.
Oh my gosh.
And I would like to turn off the screen. And for a long time, I had it set to 30 seconds, like just a 30-second,
That's wild.
turn off, like
I'm
straight.
actually kind of annoyed. So my old Apple Watch, uh, the battery started like losing its like potency, right?
Mhm.
As batteries do, especially on like,
Planned
Apple and
obsolescence. Yeah.
Microsoft, yeah, products. But so the battery started going bad, and so like it started losing its charge after like what, like 6 or 7 hours or whatever. So I had to
Mhm.
like set it to the point where like it turns off the screen unless I like hit the crown button. But it's
Mhm.
actually a little bit annoying to hit the crown button every single time that I want to my watch. It's a
Mhm.
little bit like, I mean, it's not like this is such a first world like kind of like whiny problem, but like it's often enough that I do it that it's like it's kind of a hassle a little bit. But it's fine
It
because I bought a new watch or whatever. But like
it's funny because
as a backup
I
watch or
no
whatever.
longer wear an Apple Watch.
Really?
I only wear it overnight.
Okay.
So my whole family, we all sleep, for people who freak out about the idea of co-sleeping, we all sleep in the same room, in the same bedroom, right? And so I get up the earliest, and that silent Apple Watch alarm, that just taps you awake,
Yeah,
very useful when you've got six people sleeping in the same bedroom, getting up at different times,
sure.
you know? So that in
Hmm.
sleep tracking, I wear it overnight, but my watch battery, bro, it's just so bad. So I have an Apple Watch SE, and I have like a version 1. And so I say that because it's like even though I bought the watch like coming up on 3 years ago, it's still an older watch, right? Like I bought it from a Costco. So it's
Right.
not like the newer SE version even. And now there's even like a version 3. But I forget, I used to charge it up in the morning, wear it all day, sleep with it, and then early in the morning I would get up and go work out and act and like track my workout with it for like an
Right.
hour.
Yeah.
And I would still like it wouldn't be almost dead. I would be able to comfortably do that.
Right.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
it never charges above like 75% or 80%. If I take it with me in the morning, so like tomorrow I'm going to take it with me in the morning, I have to charge it at least 2 times a day, if not 3 times a day, is where I'm at.
That's
Of like,
rough.
I have
Yeah.
to charge it before bed, I'll have to charge it when I get up, and I'll have to charge it like at some point during the day. And I'm just done, man. So at that
Yeah.
point, it's not even worth wearing to me. Like,
Right.
if I'm just
No,
going to
I
be worried
agree.
about it dying, or like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
wear a dead watch, right?
I mean,
So,
that's the kind of thing like I'm kind of glad that I stopped using my old one as often now. and that I have
hmm
my new one to kind of like be my main one,
hmm
because the main, like the new ones seem to have better. We'll see. It's still relatively new, so I'm like, maybe
Well, and again,
that obsolescence
I
hasn't started yet.
brought up
But
my
like,
old battery life. It was awesome,
yeah.
right? Even on that
But
one,
I
it was
mean,
great.
like, so my new one still works pretty well. If I use it a lot, then it'll like throughout like 9, 10, 12 hours or whatever. But
hmm
like overall, it'll last a day, pretty much, right? Uh,
hmm
and then when it does get low, I'll just take it off and put on the old one. And like, so
hmm
like, I've just got this rotating set, and it kind of works out really well. But like, yeah, and I
I
think that's
would
probably
like
better for the battery of both of them when it comes down to it, that I'm not draining them down every time.
I would like to get there. So the new Apple Watch SE. So like originally I wanted to get like one of the series watches. But
Right?
again, the new Apple Watch SE that they just dropped has a lot of the features I want. It has the always on feature. It
Always on is
has
nice.
now it does temperature and stuff. Like that was one of the things I actually miss. I miss kind of like the health tracking and stuff. But again, it's not really worth it. So I would like to get a new watch and then just wear this current one when I'm sleeping and have it be my sleep watch, right? Um, but I also don't know that I really want to spend the extra money and just buy another watch, like kind of like for what? And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff I did use it for, but it comes back to one of those things that it's a weird thing that when you have one, you use it and you're like, wow, like this was really great. But then it can be hard to justify buying one.
Yep. Exactly. Like it becomes like
It's
almost
very
like
luxurious. It feels very luxurious,
it feels
to
very luxurious to like go out and buy one or whatever, or even to talk about it, right? Like I
yeah.
feel like a one percenter in like the tech stuff that I have, even though I use it all relatively daily, and even though it's not top of the line or whatever. But
Mhm.
like to talk about it makes me feel like I'm spoiled, and I am to an
Mm,
extent. But I mean, like like it's also like it's not like I'm having it just for the sake of having it, though, too. So I
right.
mean, you know, but
No, right.
like having 2 Apple Watches sounds insane. Like, I mean, like, I'll never forget, like, when I went into, like, dojo in Vegas, and,
hmm
a branch of my workplace, and somebody at the front was like, um, "How do you afford that?" You know? And it's like,
mm,
"Well, no, you save up for something if you really want it, like, that's what you
right.
do. Or you put it on credit, I guess." But, like, yeah.
Well, that or like for me, so I'll give a couple of use cases that makes me like it, but I can see where it's not necessary. One of the main things I use on my Apple Watch actually isn't notifications, it's silent timers. And I use
Sure.
those while I'm teaching classes
Mhm.
because it's nice for me to just set a time. One, I don't have to watch the clock. I can like pay attention to the student. And since it's on my watch and it just taps me, it's really different than like your phone timer going off and being disruptive in class, especially when there's like, I don't know, 20 kindergarten kids in the class. It can be quite disruptive for a phone to go off, right? And then they're all like, oh, what's that? What's going on? Kind of a deal. I really like it for that. I also really like it. This sounds weird. I often knew I was getting sick before I would get sick. If I sound a little different right now, I'm coming down with a cold, but often my Apple Watch would pick up on changes in my vitals and alert me before I actually felt sick.
That's kinda
Like
cool,
usually
actually.
like about a day before, it would be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you've not been super active and your heart rate's really high. You
Oh,
okay?"
sure. Yeah, yeah. That's
And
a
I would
good
be like,
point,
"Oh,
actually,
weird."
yeah.
And then I would look at it and I would see, "Oh yeah, look at that. My heart rate has been elevated since yesterday." Compared to like my normal stuff. And like there have been days even that I've gone to bed early and rested and taken some vitamins and drank some water, and I didn't end up getting sick, from that kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
those two use cases alone, spending $200 to buy an Apple Watch doesn't sound so bad, considering it lasted almost 3 years, right?
Well, and
And I
I
was
like
using it
having
a
a
lot,
watch period, right?
right?
Like,
Same.
having a time that you don't have to take out your phone and I like being able
hmm
to, like, see notifications on my phone without having to pull my phone out to see them, because
Yeah.
also I get this, like, it's stupid, but it's, like, anxiety, from like
Hmm.
having notifications go off and like I need to check them. I need to see what they are. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
like they're probably nothing. They're probably not important, but I need to like at least know, right?
It's like a
And
junk email, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, like literally, like oh gosh, I got one today that like said like what was it? Your credit card is no. I'm just kidding.
yeah, your credit cards do, right?
I got one that
The
said oh, it was from the DNC that said you are not an ATM. It's like, oh, well, thank you. That's kind of sweet. And then they asked for money. But like, you
and
know,
then they, and then
but I mean, like
you're
that was a nothing email that like, you know, like I didn't need to check that, but like the fact that I had like a new email notification, like it kind of bugs me until it gets to the point where like it's an itch that I need to scratch. Um,
mm,
and so like it starts off as something I can ignore, but like it gets worse and worse until I check it. Like the anxiety
mm,
just builds up, which is not good, I'll admit. But a watch alleviates a lot of like the
right, because you can
extra
just see
stuff around that
immediately,
because I can just
or
yeah,
even it gives you the general what is it, right?
right,
Is it a text
exactly.
message?
Yeah,
It's a text message from so and so. I don't need to look at it. I
right,
can
yeah,
look at it later. Or, oh, it's
exactly.
like this. I can check that later.
And then also
The
tap pay is becoming a big thing, like
Oh,
everywhere.
you know what? That's a big one.
And tap
That's a
pay
big one for
is
me.
yeah,
I used to use tap on my watch for everything, and now, and I would leave my phone in the car. The
right,
phone's playing music in the car. Leave the car on with my kids in the car, and I'm going to run in and buy something. Now I can't do that. Sounds funny, but like there are certain quality of life differences of not using one. But
yeah,
also let's be real for a minute. I'm having I'm going to be honest with our listeners. I'm probably having the worst financial year I've had since the pandemic, like pre-pandemic. And a big portion of that, again, is, I took my family and I took a trip to the States and then we moved into this house. So we just have spent a lot of money, right?
right,
Normally it wouldn't be such a big deal, but not only are we having a hard financial year, but then we also have spent a lot of money. So like this doesn't, now I have to really weigh like maybe it's not worth getting. As opposed to before, it would totally be worth getting, right? Like, oh
right,
yeah, sure, I'll do it.
yeah,
I mean, I can argue it's for work because I use it while I'm teaching classes,
right.
right? Oh, it's a work expense. But D, it's hard to justify some of those expenses and putting them on a credit card when you don't got money.
Yep, that's
Apparently,
true.
apparently it's not hard, actually. I've
I
learned for
mean,
a lot of people it's not hard, but it is hard for me.
you know what? One thing I was thinking about today, was, and actually I thought about this like literally right before driving home, was that it's really weird to me that like I've known a few like Gen Zers because um over the past few years who like hate charity, right? They
Mm,
hate receiving gifts. Like you try to give them something and they go, no, I won't take it. And it's
mm-hmm,
like almost like they feel like that would obligate them in some sense.
mm-hmm.
Um, but the weird thing about it is that they also want things to like be free.
Yeah.
And then they also like, and no offense to younger people, but like this is a really weird like juxtaposition, I feel like, of like either wanting things to be free or like oh gosh, there was another point to this, but I forgot what it was. But like that's the main thing, I think.
Can
Was
we talk
like
about healthcare for a minute? This hot topic issue in the United States. Actually though, so one of the things people say that they want in the US, and I don't know if this is just a oversimplification of a talking point. I feel like I've seen it a lot recently is people be talking about free healthcare.
oh sure.
We want free healthcare. So I live in Japan, which has socialized medicine, like a national insurance thing that everyone gets signed in up for. And it is based on the size of your family and your income. And there is a factor of how much you use it as well, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the if you're using it a lot, it does, but basically it's based on income primarily. And then there are like it's relatively complicated. There are age brackets as well, right? So like I'm paying more now in my 30s than I was in my 20s because I am more likely to use it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. But it's not free. I want to point that
No,
out.
it's
It's
not.
not
Yeah.
free. It is, we pay, and granted, we pay way less than Americans pay for health insurance, but we pay, and again, it's based on your income from the previous year, right? We pay, and then also the insurance only covers 70% of the bill. So when you pay, you still have to pay 30% of however much the procedure and such costs. Granted, in Japan, like medicine isn't a for-profit industry, so it's all way cheaper anyway, right?
Well,
Like it's significantly cheaper than it is in the US
yes, but
anyway.
like that's not just because it's not too. It's also like technically a lower standard of care than like the premium like super spoiled and that like you get in some places where it is a for-profit industry, right?
Sure, sure, but I guess coming back to it though too is that like one of the things that Americans would always say, especially like with Canadian healthcare or with Japanese healthcare, is that like, yeah, but you guys like have to wait in line, and here you just go right in. And from what I understand, that's not the case anymore. I have lots of friends who are still having to wait in line and having to not able to get excuse me, not able to get recommendations to their specialists and having a hard time with all that stuff. So like even
Right.
that part of the US healthcare system isn't what it was of people being like, "Oh yeah, but in America you pay but you just get better healthcare." I would beg to differ actually. There are issues of course with the Japanese healthcare system, but my point is that it's not free. It's much more affordable though,
Sure.
I will say that. And procedures and such are different and affordable. And yes, like there of course are benefits to the American healthcare system, especially with experimental treatments and stuff like that versus Japan. But
Or just like more expensive treatments in general, which probably isn't the best thing. Like honestly, I feel like it would be genuinely better. And I want to do a deep dive into this at some point. For us to have a more socialized system that's more paid
mhm,
for with like taxes. Uh,
yeah, well, and that's the
because
thing, right?
but
Everybody
it
pays into it, and ambulances are free here.
yeah,
All of that stuff is free because it's like, well, everyone pays, and it is a relatively fair system, right?
right.
And but
Especially with like
again,
an income based like kind of like factor into how much you pay and everything, which kind of sort of
and
exists, but like it's so out of proportion that
bro, so
it doesn't even matter.
the first year we lived here, we didn't have income for the previous year, right? So we paid for our family of three. We paid something like like $30 a month.
That's wild. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like just, and that includes vision and dental, everything, right? Um, that being said, again, I want to go back to because you brought this up for people wanting handouts and wanting. It's not free. There is
Well,
just a
that's the thing.
socialized system that we all pay into for it, but it is not free. We still
Right.
have to pay when we go. Granted, it's pretty cheap, right? Like if I go to the doctor for something simple, I'm probably not going to spend more than $5 or $10, right?
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous here that like you can go in and granted it's starting to change a little bit, but like you could go in with a migraine or whatever, right? And get like hardcore like pain relief drugs, like stuff that you wouldn't be able to get over the counter. And it's like that level of like distribution of like more expensive drugs like probably has like inflated costs quite a bit to the point where like everything kind of gets untenable in terms of like premiums and like healthcare over. And then also there's the additional factor of like how long people are living and the fact that our healthcare system isn't really built to accommodate that. Uh
Mhm.
I don't know. Like there's a lot of problems with healthcare. It's just like there's always pros and cons and I hate comes like whole like there are no cons to like this system or this system. Like it's like no, like there's always givers or take. There's always like sacrifices and benefits. It's just a matter of whether those are worth it and whether people are willing to choose that. Because also, like I mean, like ultimately, the citizens probably should have the choice of the healthcare in the country that they live, but it also has to be explained in such a way that like they understand it. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that there's just zero understanding and related to healthcare overall, just period. Like no one bothers to learn anything like really about it. They
Hmm.
just expect
Well,
it to work.
no, yeah, and also here, private healthcare does exist too, right? You don't have to sign up if you sign up for like there's national health insurance that everyone gets, but you can also sign up for privatized health insurance that would give you different options, and you would pay, like there are things like that too. And but yeah, like as far as people knowing or not knowing, and it's yeah, it's just complicated,
Yeah. It
right?
is
And
complicated for sure. There needs to be like a better like education that simplifies it down to like a way that like most people can understand it, I feel like.
Mhm.
But yeah. Cuz like I
Well,
feel
and
there's got to be a way to distill that into like something easier to understand, even though it is complicated. Cuz like
well, I
also
think
this is one of the things I feel like video games do well, right? Where video games
mhm,
by the end they're super complicated usually in terms of gameplay system, but they do a good job of like acclimating and introducing
true.
one element at a time. And I feel like if we approached education in a way that like more resembled that kind of like pacing, I feel like
Hmm.
that might actually help as a society gets more and more complex.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, but also,
Mm.
you know, I think people. This is my feelings about it, right? So I grew up in Chicago, and you lived there for quite some time. I feel like in Japan, which maybe this comes back, like you said, to education and people just learning it better. The amount of money that the Japanese government invests back into their people is really evident, right? Like you've got, public transportation, even to like these really small towns. There's lots of programs, like kindergarten is free for kids for 3 year period. There's a bunch of those kinds of programs. They offer discounted this. There's a lot of social programs. And so you Japanese people, while nobody likes to pay taxes, you feel like the taxes, a decent portion of them come back onto you positively,
Right. Yeah.
right? And it's like, okay, well, like, yeah, we don't love to pay this, but hey, the reason we pay this is because we can go to the doctor for cheap, or because we have access to transportation, or we have access to this, or kind of stuff. Um, I felt like, and maybe this was because I was living in America when I was younger, right? I moved here when I was in my early 20s. I did not feel that way in the US. And a lot of what the US talks about is how much money they send abroad, right? How much money is sent abroad, or how much money they spend on this or this. But, excuse me, I didn't feel it so much in my daily life, which again, maybe I didn't feel it so much in my daily life because I was young, and I was just not aware of those things. But that may also help people feel differently about things. I don't know.
I feel like most of that has to do with like the way that because like I think we were looking into this like back when like there was the whole conversation of how much like we were sending to Ukraine. Um
Right.
where ultimately the amount we were sending into Ukraine was actually like pretty small compared to like a lot of the money that we were investing domestically. But like
Right. On a
because
on a budget level, but if you just say the
on a budget
number, it
level,
seems
yeah,
big. Right.
right. But like the problem is that it's A, it's poorly communicated. B, we don't see like immediate results from it because
Hmm.
like a lot of the things that we do are like so spread out that it seems like it's like a really, really low level of variance, even though that might like actually like change things over time. Um, and then C, I think it just like, I mean, things like social security, like younger people just don't see it all, right? Like they
Right.
don't like they just know that older people are getting to retire with it.
And
That's
that
pretty
they're
much like
probably
their
not going to get to retire with it.
yeah, right.
Well, I mean, that actually came up here too. That is a big problem here as well, of like, they're raising the retirement age and asking people to pay more in. But by raising the retirement age and then lowering how much you are allowed to draw as you get older, It's like current younger people are actually paying in more than older people paid in, and they're going to get to draw less. Also an issue here.
Yeah.
But I guess another one is culturally, not to sound mean to Americans, but I have heard a lot, and I've said myself when I lived in America and I was paying taxes, because I worked there as well. People be like, I don't want my money to go to this, or why should my taxes go to help this or go to do this kind of a deal. This is not the attitude here either. Of like, there's a lot more focus on society as a whole. I've never heard the word society as much as until I moved here. You
Right.
know, but it's just different. But I'm going to bring us back around again one more time. It's not free.
Right. And then like
People
there's
still
a certain
pay.
element too of like not understanding how credit works that
Hmm.
or like investing at all, really. But like that was the other thing I was gonna bring up with like younger generations is that like again, this isn't like to like shame or like send flack at them, but like they seem to not want charity, but then like they buy things on credit like constantly and then don't necessarily feel compelled to pay back that credit, even though it was basically a loan, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, wait a second. No, you literally agreed to a contract where you borrowed that money to do
This is
whatever
a
you did
problem
with
with
it.
not reading terms of in agreements and stuff,
I
though.
mean,
That's the
yeah,
yeah.
but also like not understand this concept and like, but also be so averse to like being perceived as like getting things like free, like
But actually, can we
as
walk that
charity.
back a second? How much of a difference do you think that is? So, like, we didn't necessarily go through this. Our parents probably did, of like actually getting a written contract with a credit card company, right? Where you have to look over a piece of paper and sign it
Oh,
versus
sure.
just hit I accept
Agree.
to the
Yeah,
thing you
I
did
accept.
not
Yeah.
even read,
Yep.
right? You just scroll to the bottom and you just hit accept. That feels really different, and it feels
Yeah.
like a really different responsibility when you borrow money from those people, because you actually had to sign a contract versus like you just hit I agree on your phone and it doesn't really matter, right? Like, because who reads those anyway?
One, and there's this overarching concern of like making sure that their credit is good, but then not necessarily taking the actions to make sure that credit is good. You know,
Mm,
like by
mm,
like paying it back. So like it's a really interesting like, and it's not that older people are like immune to like these same like flaws. Like I think overall, actually, I feel like credit has actually been a really bad thing for society, just
mm,
because of the way that it's spiraled out of control. Uh,
mm,
like I think that like having to like have good credit, for instance, to like buy a house to prove that you can pay back a loan, like makes sense on paper, but when it comes down to actuality, it's really like it turns out to be more of a hassle and a burden than anything else. Like I
mm,
don't really see it as beneficial, especially when we're talking about how inflated housing costs get because they know that you're going to take out a loan to buy the house anyway, you know,
mm.
and that you're going to
Yeah.
pay on a monthly basis, almost like a subscription to housing,
Mm.
where you own it at the end. Like, I mean,
Wow,
like,
you just really hey, rent is just a subscription,
I mean, yeah,
versus,
but
and they want us to stay on the game pass of housing instead of owning that house.
yeah. Well,
Back in my day, we used to own these things,
I
and
do
now
feel
they
like
just
most
want you to be
people
on the subscription.
I do feel like most people in the US at least
I
are
can make it about
used to
gaming.
own,
I can make it
you
about
know,
gaming, you know?
instead of like so it would be like, paying for Game Pass but then owning all the games at the end, which would be cool, but that'll never happen. But hmm,
It would be cool. Hold on. Let's talk about things that could be cool. It would be cool. Okay, so maybe not paying for Game Pass and owning all of the games, but it would be cool if a portion of your $30 subscription to Game Pass Ultimate goes toward owning a game that is on Game Pass that you
sure.
could maybe select, right? And so it's like, okay, every month 250 is going toward owning this game, and after X amount of months, I will actually own this game, right? That could be cool.
It would certainly be interesting. Uh I kind of feel like they kind of do this a little bit with the rewards points, like having the
Mm-hmm.
rewards points now tiered to
The
like
rewards points
whatever.
suck. You need like 4,000 rewards points to have like $5 of Xbox stuff. What is that? Come on. I'm not about it.
I don't know. I feel like rewards are pretty, but like it being like tiered to how many you can easily get based on which Game Pass tier you're in, I feel like is an attempt to try to like balance that out so that you get at least like more credit. But like I don't think
Mhm.
that's enough necessarily, and I think that's too abstracted to like really see the benefits of. Like I just got
The
51 just today for just like logging in. But
51 points, that's like
yeah.
a whole nothing. If you
Eh.
need like 4,000 points for $5.
But I do feel like credit has inflated prices a lot just because it's like an abstraction. Like it's kind of like a, like you're going to be paying this on a monthly basis, so therefore we can inflate it to like see exactly how far we can stretch it and still get you to pay as much as possible on a monthly basis. Whereas I feel
Mhm.
like if credit didn't exist, then this wouldn't be as big a deal. This is a really
Mm.
weird conversation for a gaming, but
No, no, hold on. Well, you were talking about housing
yeah.
specifically and the issue of,
Well, housing and I
credit
think
scores and housing. But,
education
you
as well.
know,
But yeah,
I wonder how this is going to affect the World of Warcraft economy because in the next expansion, they're introducing houses in
that's
Warcraft, right?
true.
You can have a
Yes,
house.
that's a great point. Yeah.
Boom, baby.
That was a
And you
good
can
callback. Yeah.
join the other 3.5 billion active users on WoW
Yes.
and make that 3.52 and 2 billion
The
because
3.5 plus 2. Yeah.
David and I are back on WoW, and let me tell you what, it's weird. I don't know. I like it. I like
I
the
like
quest.
it.
I I feel like so for people who are into MMOs, the MMO glory days where you were being super social and had tons of fun and like could just randomly meet people, that's over. People
I
don't
feel that
talk
way too. Yeah.
when they're walking around and doing quests or doing whatever. People are not talking. People are not hanging out in WoW, right? They are doing quests, they're doing dungeons, they're doing their thing, and they're hanging out in Discord while they do it. But it is fun to be back. I was playing on my healer, I was playing on my druid, having a good time. We started some new characters for some Legion event. So this is what I brought up to Kate Lindy. I feel like you're right here with me because she was like, "Oh, do you want to do this like Legion thing and like get on our new characters?" And I'm like, I haven't had that many max level characters in this game. Like
At
you
0.
guys are
So
like,
yeah.
yeah, you guys are like, "Hey, why don't we play on the new character?" I'm like, I've been a level 14 way more than I've been a level 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, no, this is cool because we can get like all the old gear like ranked up, and it's really cool to get like old armor sets. I'm like, I don't even have the new armor sets. I don't even have the current ones. Like y'all are like, let's get these cool classic looking sets. I'm like, it would be cool for me to just get a set of something,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. I would love to have a matching set of something that's like just current. And meanwhile, everyone's like, Johnny, let's roll again. Let's roll a new character. I'm like, why? I barely know how to play these other characters I have. You know. Anyway, so I have a new paladin type guy. I think he's a level
And we're
17
both
now,
dwarves,
actually. And
which
we're
is
both dwarves, yeah, which is cool. But I appreciate you gifting me the subscription. I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
oh, you didn't need. That's good. It's cool.
Also, talking about that, I recently so we had our whole conversation last week was about Game Pass. I downgraded to Game Pass Core, and there is one sad thing about it, which is that I no longer have access to Clair Obscur Expedition
Oh
33.
no.
Yeah, very,
Sad.
very sad.
That's
Very sad. I actually am kind of okay with it though, because I don't know when I get back to it.
sure.
It's going to be one of those, I think I'm going to wait for it to go on sale and I'll pick it up again and I'll be more willing to go back to it because, I was playing on my Steam Deck recently and I realized, I have a ton of great offline single player games I need to be playing again. Like I just need to get through, right?
Yeah.
So I am
Hmm.
doing my best. I am now actually like actively like it sounds so bad. It sounds like I'm like joining a program or something. I'm gonna try to get through those games instead of just playing Helldivers 2. I'm gonna try to get through some of these single player games. Because oh my gosh, did you buy Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evilise Chronicles?
I've not bought it yet, but I plan to.
It would be a great stream game. Did I talk about this last week? It, it's funny because when I played it, so it was introduced to me by this guy Rob, who David knows, who's a part of my life when I was younger. And to me, Final Fantasy Tactics was the battles, right? The gameplay battle part. That's what I was interested in, like the Fire Emblem type battles, of like the strategy stuff. And so for a lot of the story stuff, this sounds so bad. I really did not care. I was about doing battles, leveling up my people, because if you level up in certain jobs, it unlocks other jobs, which unlocks other jobs, right? Like you start off and there's like 5 base jobs, and as you level them up, different combination of levels gets into more specialty type jobs. And then there are skills from those specialty type jobs that you can do even if you're not those jobs. So by the end of the game, I'm playing this knight character who has like ninja skills and samurai skills and dragoon skills and heal, right? Like he's just this incredible combination of all these different types of jobs you can have. And and so I remember, and also get this, on the PlayStation, and then I think I played it on PSP also. You couldn't skip cutscenes, D.
Oh,
So
geez.
like when
That's
games would
frustrating.
have
Yeah.
cutscenes and stuff, you just have to watch it on this game. But you know what? This time around, I've been paying attention because they added voice acting in the new version. So I've specifically like even let it play out with the voice acting. The story is really good. And it sounds funny for that I loved this game so much and played it so much. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasies. I don't remember any of this. I remember a couple things like it's like, oh, I remember so and so died, or I remember this, or I remember this, but I didn't remember like the political intrigue and all this stuff in this game. It's really good. I think it would be a great stream game, to be honest with you. It almost makes me want to go back and stream it. It almost does. Maybe. Maybe. That's my impassioned.
You always could.
I could. You
Yeah.
know, I have a third desk in my studio, and I've thought about how I could start streaming music or something again on it, but I think I'll wait until my kids are back in kindergarten and I have more time. But yeah, like so I'm in chapter 4 of the game. I've slowed down a lot. I've not been playing it as much. Really fun. Highly recommend, D. Highly recommend. I think you'll like it.
I very much I look forward to it. There's just so many games on it. So like I plan on basically my plan for that Final Fantasy Tactics is to play it once I beat Expedition 33, which I'm very close to beating,
Mm,
but like
mm.
I don't
I did
I
a
like yeah.
I did a cover from that. It came out last week. I have another one on deck, and then I have another cover that I have not yet worked on from it as well that I've been doing with this guy.
I'm looking at the games that are available on Essential, and
Hmm.
it's actually a pretty good variety
Yeah, it's not
on
bad.
Game Pass. Yeah, it's not bad. Like it's not like everything, obviously, but like you've got your Hellblade, you've got like Stardew
Smite
Valley,
2.
State of Decay, Smite 2, yeah,
I think
Control, like
we're a little
Astroneer.
spoiled. I
Yeah,
think we're a little spoiled because honestly, it's great. It's a
yeah.
great value to have access to something like that.
For
Again,
like
if you
10
didn't
bucks
already
and you
own,
get like online play. Like I mean like which $5 a
it's
month
not
used to
10.
be the requirement for online?
It's
Yeah.
not $10. It's like $8. Like I say that because it is under $10.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty incredible for gaming.
Yeah.
Um,
And it seems like
yeah,
I don't know, like a good variety here too. Like I mean like I think they did a pretty good job at actually of curating it.
but it
Um
is still not like. I mean, I say this. God, this makes you. Do people actually play Call of Duty? Because I don't really know a lot of people who do. People talk about Call of Duty like it, but apparently people really do play Call of Duty and like 2K and FIFA and stuff. But I don't actually know people who do it. You know?
well, so Call of Duty apparently like allegedly according to Bloomberg That was one of the main reasons why they may have switched the pricing and everything, was just because they lost so much money for Call of Duty. So my new proposed plan for premium is make all Game Pass, make all Xbox games day one except for Call of Duty.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, then you
Well,
still
they lost so much money
those
as
who,
in because people weren't buying Call of Duty anymore.
right? Yeah, because people were subscribing to Game Pass instead, which I feel like would offset that pretty significantly.
Yeah,
So
but I
I
mean,
mean, whether it's
$20
still profitable or
isn't
not, I'm not sure. But
$70, you
yeah,
know?
I'm
Yeah.
curious
But then
as to
it's
how
like, is
much that offset it.
$30
But
that
yeah,
much more profitable though than
then
$20?
20. Yeah, I don't know, but I would also imagine that their plan was not so many people at a $10 increase. But
It's
again,
a
we've talked
50%
about,
increase. It's a
but we talk well, and
50% increase. That's crazy.
I agree with you. I do, for the record. But the value that they added was more than $10 technically. So on paper, they might not have seen that, right? But also the I think there's a subjective kind of look at certain numbers, right? Like as we get closer and closer to $100 per game as opposed to 50, right? It becomes harder and
Hmm.
harder to justify the purchase, right? I
Hmm.
think $30 being higher than literally any other subscription plan, that's entertainment wise, for the most part anyway, is
Hmm.
pretty hard to justify too. I mean, if this had been 25, I think that people would have gone, well, Netflix is about 25. Okay. You know, but
Right.
30 feels different, even if it's not significantly more. But then also, you also have to take the whole of it into account, like you just did, and recognize that it's also a 50% increase, which is a substantial jump. Yes.
It is. Netflix never
Hmm.
50% increased
Right. I
their
mean,
tiers. And also, let me
not
say
at one
this
time. Yeah.
about, yeah, exactly. Not a
Yeah.
50% jump.
Yeah.
Let me say this about Netflix that has something in its favor that honestly Disney Plus doesn't so
Oh,
much
I'll tell you right now. I know what you're gonna say.
is exclusives.
Oh well,
I was gonna say this.
I was gonna say they have the they have the Halo show on Netflix now.
Oh, yeah, the Halo show. Not in Japan. It's not on Netflix in Japan. I actually looked it up.
Uh-huh.
The or did it just get on? Because I checked maybe
It
2 weeks ago.
just got on last.
All right, I'll check it while we're talking. No, they have exclusives.
Yeah,
Say what
that's
you
true.
want about, I know, people have mixed feelings about Stranger Things and they're gonna finally do the last season. And it feels like it's been so long because it has. Or, whether or not people like The Witcher, right, which they recast Geralt and all of that stuff. But nope, they do not have Halo on Japanese Netflix. But I loved season 1 and 2, and honestly, even season 3 of Stranger Things. And I liked season 4 also. And the fact that I cannot buy it, if I could buy it, I would. I bought all of the Expanse. I own it, right? Like the digital downloads of it. I own digital files and I can watch it whenever I want. If I could buy Stranger Things, if I could buy The Witcher, I would. I actually own season 1 and 2 of Wheel of Time as well, and I'll buy season 3 when they drop it, if they drop it, right? Because I like to do. We talked about that. I like to collect TV shows, maybe not movies,
Right.
but TV
Yeah.
shows.
Same.
If Game Pass started releasing games, if Microsoft started releasing games exclusively to Game Pass, you can't buy it. You have to be
Yeah.
signed up to Game Pass to have it. That would change the conversation of Game Pass's
That's
value.
true. Yes, that's true.
And then
And
it's
there
like,
was the
well,
rumor that they were going to
normally
do
it's
that
an
at
a
one
hundred
point
dollar
too.
it's $100 game, but you could pay, I mean, even then, $30 a month. You could pay $30 a month and you get access to this Game Pass exclusive game. But the hard part is how would they make that happen when so much of, popular gaming is free,
Well,
right?
and then there's also the problem is too that you immediately get pushback from the whole you don't own your games crowd. where
Yeah.
like, like, oh, what, I can't even buy this now, like not even digital, like that's even worse, like, and they're kind of
Well,
sort of right. Like, I mean, like that,
Netflix,
but
but Netflix did it, Disney Plus did it,
that's
and they
true.
just
Yeah.
pushed through the pushback, and
Yeah.
now that's not a
Well, and
conversation.
that's the thing. That's the thing that like Xbox has always sucked at is pushing through, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like
It's not even a conversation for me to be
they
like, I can't believe I can't buy season 5 of Stranger Things. People be like, why would you buy it?
it would be
Just
so
sign up for Netflix for a month, you
if
know?
I could go to any alternate universe ever, I would go to anyone but here anyway, because of what's going on. But
Uh,
like, and I also just finished Peacemaker, so I mean, it's an alternate universe thing, aspect of that.
I was gonna
But
make a joke, but I want to be able to re-enter the United States at some point in my life, so I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna make that joke.
but
There you go.
yeah,
I'm
and
deleting all
I mean,
the
and
memes of Jimmy Van off my phone right now.
literally, they're using like a government to like monitor social media now and everything. And it's like, okay, well, that's not creepy at all. That's not,
Yeah.
but whatever. But like, if there was any universe that I could go into, uh, I would probably be very curious to see the one where Xbox One is allowed to pursue their whole digital future
Mm,
instead of
yeah.
like all the pushback that they got and then like buckling under that and like going back, because a lot of what like ideas they had.
Very forward thinking, Dave.
Yep.
Very forward thinking.
Yep.
10 years too early.
Yep. And just like
It's funny
that,
for
the
them
whole
to be
idea of
like
like,
10 years too early to everything, but then they like just give up and let someone
yeah,
else make it happen.
and then
Like that's
somebody
the part
else
that's
makes it
wild.
happen. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
God.
And like
Like,
maybe that's why they're so like bullish on AI, is because they don't want to do that with AI, which might be actually like a significant change, but also might not. I mean, like that's
but
sort of
also they still have time. They still have time to just totally backpedal and
yeah,
not do
that's
that.
true.
Yeah.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that could be I'm not opposed to that, D. I'm not opposed to a Game Pass. God, I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm not opposed to Game Pass exclusive games. And I will say this to anyone who is opposed to it, why are you opposed to it? Why?
Sure.
Because so there's this. There's an iPad app for Logic Pro. This iPad app requires a subscription. It's $50 a year or $5 a month. People are really mad about this subscription. And I'm like, well, I think it's actually pretty cool for someone who isn't sure they want to commit to like buying like, on the computer's like a $200 program that they can just pay $5 for 1 month and try it out, you know? That seems
Right.
pretty cool. And then even if you do, you would have to be paying for the program for 4 years to pay for the desktop version, for the amount to be the same as the desktop version, right? So now and who knows what it's going to be like in 4 years is the truth,
Right.
right? We don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so like, so people who get really mad about it, what really is the problem? Like that it's actually a lower barrier to entry for people, but then you don't own it. If there were Game Pass, if the next Halo is a Game Pass exclusive, which it won't be, but if it was, what's the issue with that?
Imagine a MMO, not WoW, but like a different MMO that was like Game Pass or something like
Right,
that too. Yeah.
right. I mean, that's what that's what WoW is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's you pay a subscription, and it doesn't matter whether you don't own that game. It does, or if you own it, it doesn't matter. You can't play it unless you subscribe, right? It's
Right.
just a really interesting thing. So, like, I would be okay with it. I don't know what kind of game would make sense for that. I don't know because then there's this hard thing of obviously it can't be any big name game because then people are going to freak out.
Well, and
It would
that's the
have
thing
to be a
too.
new
Yeah.
IP. It
Like
would have
the
to be a
problem
new IP
is,
that gets popular.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because like people get so emotionally invested in certain things and like feel entitled to certain things that like they just have like a visceral reaction where like rationality just can't be accessed during that reaction at all. And like it's impossible to break through and like explain like, no, this does make sense.
So, if the game is $70, why don't you just subscribe to Game Pass for 2 months, save $10, And that's subscribing at Game Pass Ultimate. This is assuming that you have to be at the Ultimate stage, which I would assume you wouldn't have to be because it would be Game Pass exclusive, right?
Right.
Um,
And I
for
would
two
imagine that they
months,
would want the biggest player base they could have, so that like it would definitely be available on Essentials and higher.
yeah,
Yeah.
save $10, and then you can play the game for 2 months. Probably you're going to be done playing the game after 2 months. How many games do people really play after 2 months?
Well,
Like,
and
really?
there was a survey that IGN did actually this past week that asked how many games on Game Pass do people play, and like about like 4,000 people answered. Almost all of them said like 1 to 2 games.
Yep. It's the reason I dropped down to core.
Yeah.
In the end, all of the streaming stuff sounds cool. The day one stuff sounds cool. How can I
75
really
sounds like so
pay
much. Like that sounds
so?
intimidating to me. And I
How?
game jump like heck, you know? I mean like
Yeah. How can
just
I
yeah.
pay 50% more than what I was paying when the only game I've really played on my Xbox in 2025 is Helldivers 2, which is a game I paid for?
Right.
I
Like the
played a
new Gears
little
of
bit of
War,
Clair Obscur.
the new Gears of War remake just came out. I haven't touched, right? And I love
Mm-hmm.
Gears. And just
Yep. This has been an all over gaming podcast this week, but do you have any closing thoughts, Dee, before we wrap up?
I guess go watch the Halo show so that you understand like why it's so bad.
And I know, this is a gaming podcast, though I think we do a decent amount of time, like branching out on other topics. But due to recent things in the U.S., based and living in Japan and seeing it from overseas, I want to just tell people who are listening, stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
stay safe out there, everybody. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Get out of here, Craig.